Hey, this is Rob, and you're listening to the Hidden Destination podcast. All right, well, today is September 2nd, and a lot to catch up on. This is the first episode I've recorded since, I believe, the 30th of August, where I departed Bolus after completing the Northern Tier Loop, and that sort of kicked off the weekend with Clare, so I didn't really have the time to record any episodes, and didn't do a ton of riding, so it's more of a recovery weekend, and so this episode will update today's ride on the 2nd, as well as some highlights from the weekend. So I am sitting here in Interstate State Park Campground in Wisconsin. A little redundant name. Having a campfire and enjoying a cigar. So that's quite relaxing. But yeah, just to sort of recap the weekend. Claire came out to visit, which was just unbelievable. It was so nice to catch up. I'm not going to get into all the details of the weekend, but on the 30th, I rode from Bolus to St. Cloud, which was a very pleasant ride on some rail trails. It was a pretty short ride. Had a tailwind most of the way from Albany into Bolus, and yeah, met up with Claire in St. Cloud. We enjoyed a nice reunion at the Walmart. I walked down there from the motel we were in. Stayed in a pretty crummy Econo Lodge, but it was super inexpensive. Got the job done, and yeah, Claire was driving from Minneapolis and met me at the Walmart. So we had our reunion at the Walmart, which was kind of funny and I guess maybe appropriate. Sorry, just trying to make sure my cigar stays lit here. There we go. And enjoyed exploring St. Cloud a little bit. We went to Beaver Island Brewing Co. and followed that up with a nice dinner. And then the following day, we both overslept significantly. Didn't really get the day started until almost noon, and loaded up the bike in the back of the rental car, which was the first time in quite a while actually that the bike has been in a car. And then we drove to Stillwater, and Stillwater again is just amazing town. Such a cool town. And I did in Stillwater, I did like a 20-ish mile recovery ride. Got to explore some new areas that I actually ended up overlapping those same routes today, part of that same route today on my ride up to Interstate. So that was pretty awesome. We Claire did a 10-mile run, I believe, on one of the trails up towards Duluth Junction, and it was definitely a treat riding the disc trucker without any gear. Not something that I should get used to because it was so easy. I think I averaged that day. I averaged like 13 miles an hour, which was pretty good. But yeah, enjoyed Stillwater. Went out to what was the brewery called? Just looking it up here. River Siren Brewing Co., which was awesome. It was right on the river. And then we went out to a nice dinner, and that was pretty pleasant. And then the following day we left Stillwater, drove into Minneapolis. We had an Airbnb in towards downtown Minneapolis, which was quite nice, and ended up doing some resupply, commuting around there a little bit to get groceries. Again, hit up a brewery. Seems to be the common theme. We went to Lake Monster Brewing, which was fantastic in a cool industrial neighborhood. And then went out to dinner at this amazing Ethiopian restaurant. It was a vegan Ethiopian restaurant. It was delicious. Some of the best food I think I've had in quite a while. It's called Lulu Ethio Vegan Cuisine, and yeah, the injera was just the best injera I've ever had. It was tasty. We both really enjoyed it, and yeah, had a great evening, great final evening out, and then I'm just gonna throw a couple of logs on the fire here. Oh dear. Oh, there we go. Throw the last of the logs on the fire. And then, yeah, next morning, which was this morning, we had coffee at the Airbnb and packed up. I loaded up the bike. I dropped some weight in terms of, I ended up carrying a lot of weight with all the food and some of the extra gear, but I did drop some stuff off with Claire to bring back, stuff that I wasn't really using, didn't need. And I set off towards Wisconsin. So today was the start of the North Lakes route, which is effectively going to be the beginning portion of my route back east, back towards Rochester. So that's exciting and appropriate that sort of the reunion with Claire was sort of kicked off the return journey back east. So yeah, today I rode 60 miles, a little over 60, and like I said, rode from Minnie to St. Croix, which is where Interstate State Park Campground is located. It was a gorgeous day. I had mostly tailwind the entire way, and I passed by this morning. I passed by the Minnesota State Fair, which was bumping. Quite a busy affair. There were just people everywhere, and it looked pretty cool. I would have maybe popped in, but I had my bike, and I think it was $10 to get in. I decided against it, but yeah, I kept cruising. Rode a lot of the Gateway State Trail, which I had already ridden before, and right after Duluth Junction, jumped on one of the surface streets and started making my way north towards what town was it? Scandia, I believe that's how it's pronounced, which is a small town just south of Osceola, or I believe I think that might be how it's pronounced. Osceola? Not sure. Some of these towns are hard to pronounce. Not gonna lie. But while I was in town there, I was looking at my map, seeing how much farther I had to go, where I wanted to stop for lunch, and another cyclist comes up behind me on a disc trucker, and he's touring from Minnie to Lake Superior. So that was super cool. His name was I believe it was Brian. Let me double check that. Sorry about that. I should have all this information off the top of my head, but I don't. Mike. His name was Mike Brower. Mike was awesome. We ended up riding together for a bit of time. Mike is a engineer. He is a Minneapolis native. He actually worked for Surly for a bit as an engineer, which is pretty cool. So we were both rocking the disc truckers. That was awesome. And yeah, rode together for a bit of time up to Osceola, and just had a good chat. That was the first time I actually rode with someone on this tour for an extended period of time, so that was super nice. And yeah, we exchanged contact info, and we'll definitely be in touch. So he's making his way up to Lake Superior, camping at a bunch of accommodations that are either by way of friends or family. So he'll be camping on their properties. So I wish him the best of luck, and yeah, we'll just stay in touch with him. He's a super nice guy. And then I rolled up to Interstate State Campground a little after 6, and made camp, and went up to get some firewood at the office, which was just a serious climb. So like, to get to the North Campground, which is where I'm at tonight, was a pretty sizable descent towards the river into the valley, and in order to get back up to the camp office, you had to climb significantly. So I wanted to fire tonight to record this podcast and enjoy my cigar, and decided to ride up there before dinner and grab some firewood, and as luck would have it, the bundle of firewood was way too big to fit on my bike. So fortunately, there was a car pulling up while I was trying to load up the gear. I was talking to my dad on the phone, and I was like, hang on, Dad, I gotta see if this guy will help me out. So Jeep pulls up, and a guy named Keith is driving, and he's also buying firewood. And I'm like, hey, do you mind bringing this down to my campsite, because it won't fit on my bike? And he was like, yeah, I'm in camp spot number 60. And his name was Keith, like I said. And we chatted for a bit. He's a really nice guy from Michigan. Meeting I believe his sister is meeting him here to camp for a few nights. And I was like, well, I'm in 30. If you wouldn't mind dropping this off, happy to buy your firewood. He was like, oh, don't worry about it. And so, so yeah, he's in campsite 60. I was like, I didn't think there was a 60 in the North Loop, but either way, I assumed he'd be able to find me. So I descend back into the valley towards the campground and notice that he pulls off in a different direction. And come to find out, he was in the south camp loop, which has a campsite 60, campsite number 60. And I'm like, oh man, I hope he's able to find me. So about 20 minutes or 30 minutes later, I see a Jeep pull up, and I flag him down, and it's Keith, and he drops off my firewood. So that was super nice. He had a dog named Bailey in the back seat that was barking her head off at me. And yeah, ended up having a good fire. Just gonna pause here for a second, try to relight my cigar. Getting towards the end here, doesn't want to stay lit. There we go. You can just fast forward through that like an advertisement in a podcast. All right, we are good to go. And yeah, got the got some dinner started, got the fire going. Ended up reheating some oatmeal and bananas on the fire, and then drizzling it in peanut butter, which was just the best. I got some good cinnamon at one of the co-ops, so enjoyed some hot oatmeal with cinnamon and bananas. That was delicious. But yeah, overall, just a super good day. Felt good to be back in the saddle, but definitely left the weekend missing home. And though I want this tour to continue, definitely missing home a bit for sure. So after seeing Clare, that it's definitely sort of weird getting back on your own again, getting back out there. But I'll get into the flow, and yeah, not sure how much longer. it's going to take to get me back to Rochester, but that's the trajectory at the moment, is heading back to Rochester. So my guess is another month or so. But yeah, so won't have an episode dropping tomorrow morning. That'll be this episode. Maybe I'm gonna continue to record these at night, the day of the ride, but also getting kind of sleepy and the brain's a little fuzzy. So maybe morning with a cup of coffee is still the way to go. We'll see. We'll try both. But yeah, so from Interstate State Park Campground, until next time, ta-ta.